Jail, you were a buck 15 graduating high school. How in the world did you end up in the Marine Corps Infantry?
Well, I've always been kind of crazy, so the story's a little on the crazy side.
Well, you might as well tell that story while you drink something that you probably drank back in the day. So go ahead and tell it.
Man, you right. I might as well tell it. And here's what we're going to drink. See y'all? Bud Ice. I used to drink some Bud Draft back in the day, I remember. But they don't make that no more. But I kind of remember drinking this too. And I found this at the store, so I got it. So, I'll stop talking to myself and talk to y'all while we pop this bad boy open and tell another story time with JR. Man, that's actually pretty good. I hadn't had that in probably almost 20 years, if not over 20 years. 5.5% alcohol. All right, so let's get into it. Now, the story of how I ended up in the Marine Corps Infantry is it is a crazy one. So, let's start with, I was in high school. Like I said, I was 115 pounds when I graduated. So my whole senior year, I was around that 110, 115 area. So I was skinny. Same height as I am now, 5'6", but skin and bones. And I was in ROTC. It was a Navy ROTC at Opelousas High School here in Opelousas. Me and a bunch of my friends were in it. And we liked it. And I knew I didn't have no plans for after high school as far as going to college. Hell, I barely graduated. I graduated on time, but I had to take every class and pass the classes that I had to graduate. That'll be a story for another time. And it's a good one because that one's actually pretty funny. I did something that probably nobody's ever done in the history of OHS and got it done. But this story is about how I ended up in the infantry. So, excuse me with that. So this story is how I ended up in the infantry. I went to the Navy recruiter's office because I was going to join the Navy. Because like I said, I had no plans. And I went to his office. This was in probably November of 2000, or respect track. So, like I said, I had no plans for what I was going to do after high school. So I figured, hey, I'm going to go in the military. Since I was in a Navy ROTC, decided I was going to join the Navy. So, went to the Navy recruiter's office. Walked in, old boy was on the phone. This is back before cell phones. He was on a landline. He was talking away. And I was like, okay. So I sat down. About 10 minutes go by. And he's still jabbering away. Not even paying attention to me. So I got up, kind of looked around. There's nobody else there. Walked outside. This is back when the recruiter's office were over by the old Walmart, by where the old Mr. Gaddis and all that was. And basically when you walked out the Navy recruiter's office, if you were facing the interstate, on the left-hand side was the Army recruiter. On the right-hand side was the Marine recruiter. The Air Force was somewhere else. I don't remember where they were at. I don't think they were in those same buildings. Get another pull. So, what happened was I walked outside. The Marine recruiter was outside, standing against the wall, smoking a cigarette. He looked at me. I looked at him. He said, man, what you doing? I said, I was about to join the Navy, but they don't seem to have time for me. Is that right? You a senior? I said, yes, sir. Come talk to me. All right. So, boom. He pulls out a cigarette. We go inside. That right there said, oh, he got time for me. So we go inside, start talking. He said, well, what you going to do in the Navy? I said, honestly, no real plans. I have no idea what I want to do. Kind of looked around. All right. So, you from Opelousas? You from Louisiana? I said, yes, sir, born and raised. He said, so you probably like to shoot guns. Yeah, I like to shoot guns. So you probably like to drink some beer, huh? Oh no, sir, I'm under 21. I don't drink. He kind of laughed. Nah, don't give me that. You like to drink? Yeah, I like to drink is what I said. Speaking of which, so he goes, you ever heard of the Marine Corps Infantry? I said, no. He says, that's all they do. They drink beer and shoot guns. I said, that sounds pretty good. Sign me up. So I'm all excited. I'm going to go Marine Corps Infantry. Now, I found out later on, my recruiter was an intel guy. Never did any time in the infantry. Really didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He didn't technically lie, though, because we drank a lot of beer. And we shot a lot of guns. It just didn't include all the other stuff. The 20-mile hikes, the, what we called humps. The cleaning your rifle after you got out of the field and the army don't want to take it back. The chiggers all over your ankles and all over your nutsack. Don't get me wrong. I would do it again even if he told me about all that, because I love my brothers and I love my time that I served in. I didn't re-enlist, obviously, because 4 years it was enough. Which 4 years plus my recall time, which that'll be another story eventually. But anyway, to continue on with my story, that's how I signed up. But makes it even worse, one of my best friends, who I need to go hang out with pretty soon, because I hadn't hung out with him in probably about 6 months or so, Timmy Bado. Me and him are friends in high school. I get back to school that Monday or whenever it was after I talked to the recruiter, because I think it was like a Saturday I talked to the recruiter. So I get in there and it's that Monday, and I'm telling him, bro, I'm going in the Marine Corps. I'm going to go infantry. He says, oh yeah? What they told you? I said, man, they told me I get to drink beer and shoot guns. That sounds pretty good. I'm going to go with you. And what makes it even worse is both me and him both had high enough ASVABs that there's a million other things we probably could have did in the military. But both of us said, that sounds pretty good. Sign me up. And that's how me and him ended up on the buddy system. They both in the Marine Corps, both going infantry. So to roll into a bonus story that I want to tell, like I said, I was buck 15. I had no problem passing all the PFT stuff, doing pull-ups. When you're buck 15, buck 20, doing pull-ups ain't nothing. I could do a bunch of them. Running, I ran in high school track, ran distance, so running wasn't nothing for me. I passed all of that. The sit-ups, 100 sit-ups, that wasn't nothing. So PFT, I could do that. Boom, 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 no problem. Some of the other things kicked my butt, but I learned and I got through it. But one of the craziest things is a lot of people, those of y'all, my brothers that are watching this, remember Black Friday in boot camp. It's when you meet your actual, cause what happens is when you get to boot camp, you're in like a receiving platoon at first. That might be 3, 4, 5 days, depending on what time you got there. And that's when they run you through all your stuff. You do your medical, you do your all your shots and immunizations. They do all your paperwork. They shave your head. That's when you stand on the footprint, the yellow footprints and all that. That's all receiving. Well, you have different drill instructors for that. Black Friday is when they put you into your squad base and you meet your real drill instructors. And they come through like it's a damn tornado. Like bat shit out of hell, man. They come out there like it's crazy. Man, it's if you remember, they might have videos online of some of it, I don't know, but it's wild. But anyway, what happens is your drill instructors, they introduce themselves basically, and it's batshit crazy. Well, after all the craziness kind of starts to settle down, one of the drill instructors goes up to the front and yells out, "Hey, I want all my old threes up in the front." So everybody that was going infantry, because you don't know right out of the gate when you sign the paperwork to go infantry, you don't know if you're gonna be an 11, a 31, a 51. You know, you just know 03. You get your actual designation for what you're gonna do 03 wise in SOI. I was an 0311. Got it right here on my forearm like a dummy. But I'm still proud of it. Most people don't even know what that is because it don't have nothing to represent Marine Corps. Some people think I got that in prison. I was never in prison, by the way. But anyway. So he yells, get all my 03s up here. Get all my 03s up here. So we all run up there. But that's pretty good. Anyway, so we get up there. And he starts eyeballing. Who I got up here, you know? And he sees me. He stops in his place. He says, you going to infantry? And that's, you know, you answer, sir, yes, sir. And he's like, and like I said, like I told y'all, I was a $1.15. I don't blame him for stopping and being like, what the fuck? So he's like, he basically said it outright. No fucking way. You ain't making it. You ain't making it out of boot camp. I'm like, fuck. This dude made my life a living hell for the entire 3 months of boot camp. But what happens is I made it all the way through, and it sucked, but it was, you know, I made it. You when you go on the crucible, the drill instructors kind of break up and they take so many Marines with them, and they start acting like squad leaders instead of drill instructors. So instead of yelling at you, they're trying to encourage you now at this point. This is for the crucible. This is right at the end. This is what when you graduate, when you get to the top of the Reaper for the crucible, they hand you your EGA, your Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, and you're officially a Marine at that point. Well, I'm sure he did it on purpose. He made sure he was my drill instructor for that. But like I said, at that point it switched from him just degrading me, digging me into the ground. They used to call people up to the front deck to just basically haze them in a way for people messing up. Even if I didn't mess up and somebody got called, he would call me up to do shit with him. Fucking push-ups and jumping jacks, running in place, doing just 20 minutes about to die, throw up in because we were there in July, by the way. July, August, September, we graduated in October. But on the crucible, he said he was my drill instructor. So he actually, on one part where we were going from, you go from like different obstacles and things you have to do. And it's pretty crazy and it's pretty cool. It's actually kind of fun. But the drill instructors actually talk to you like a person at that point. They stop being like that shit crazy on you. And he even told me at that point, he's like, I didn't think you're going to make it at this point. Look like you're going to make it now. Let's do this. So when we climbed the Reaper, we got to the top and they handed out Eagle Globe Anchors. He's the one who handed me my Eagle Globe and Anchor. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I haven't cried much in my life, but I was bawling like a little baby up there when they handed me that and it happened. One of the wild things about that is I get through School of Infantry because you fly home after boot camp. That's like 10 days, and then you fly back to California where I was at. You go to Pendleton and do School of Infantry. So I did School of Infantry, finished that, and found out I was going to 3-6 in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. So as of getting to fly back, we got like a delay between when we're going to leave. So they drop us over at the airport, and we're kind of like, I ain't got nothing to do. So me and a couple other guys decided to go to MCRD San Diego, which is right next to the airport. And so we go, and I'm walking around. We went to do a little shopping at the PX, kind of walking around. And you're in your alphas because you're about to report to San Diego. Not San Diego, Camp Lejeune. They're flying us across the country. So you report in your alphas. So I'm in my alphas. So all the recruits are calling you sir and shit because that's just how it is. Like if you're a recruit, you call any Marine you see sir. So that's kind of weird because, PFC getting called sir. But that's just how it is. But I'm walking, and I hear, Wheeler! And I knew that voice. Click. I snapped to attention. I started looking. I kind of didn't look around, but I'm like, oh, what is that? What is that? I hear it, and I see it in my peripheral vision on the third deck of one of the squad bays is Sergeant Cruz. And that was my drill instructor. I didn't say his name earlier, but that was his name. The one that was my drill instructor in boot camp. And I was like, oh shit. So he's like, get up here. So I ran up there. I got flashbacked. I was still freaking a recruit. So I get up there and I kind of snap out of it. I'm like, oh, I can talk to this guy like a PFC talking to a sergeant. You know, you stand at parade rest still, but so I get up there and I stand at parade rest, and he's like, no. He's like, so I was like, all right. He's like, what you doing? I said, oh, I just graduated SOI. They sending us to our duty stations. I'm going to Camp Lejeune. I said, well, who you gonna be with at Camp Lejeune? I said, 3-6. He was with 3-5 at one time, which is like our sister battalion in Pendleton. The 5th and 6th Marines are the only Marine regiments that are allowed to wear the French Fortigé on their uniforms due to the combat that our units saw in World War I when they won the award. I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. Beer's kicking in, but that's how the French Fortigé came about. If you ever need another story, look that up. It's awesome. But so here's that, and he's like, oh wow, that's freaking great news. That's awesome. And we talked, and it was just a really cool experience to have someone that showed that level of respect for you. And at one point, you know, you understand like what they were actually doing in boot camp to break you down to nothing, and then you rise above all that, become what you're gonna become. It's an important life lesson, and it's something that just really freaking awesome. And that's the story. I got a lot more stories, so I'm gonna make this an ongoing thing. Stories with jail. I might not always have the theatrics where I talk to myself. That was just something new I tried. I thought it was kind of cool. But what I will do is not all my stories are going to be Marine Corps related. My first one that I told with the crawfish ball was Marine Corps related. And this one was because it was one of those stories that I really wanted to tell. But I got a lot of stories that were stupid things I've done in my life and stupid things that are happening in my life and just funny things that have happened. Some of them I can include together. Some of them will be, separate, but it's all going to be good. Hope y'all like these videos. Hope y'all hit that like. Hope y'all hit that subscribe button. And until next time, peace.